The Tim Heale Podcasts. Ordinary people's extraordinary stories.
Welcome to the Tim Heale Podcast. In this episode, I'm going to have a chat with Cetvies. So if you can tell me when and where you were born, and if you can describe what it was like where you grew up, the schools you went to, and the education you received.
I was born between 40 and 45 years ago. So yes, that's for my generation. France, it's rather countryside. It's what we enjoyed, and I had this great luck of being in the countryside. So enjoying the presence of animal and the presence of trees and so forth. And this, I think, is changing radically your perspective and the way you can feel and so forth, because of I'm a vegan, for example, and I know that certainly the main reason why it hit me that I couldn't go on eating meat is that I know cows. I know I've seen cows all my life. A lot of domestic animals, but also farming animals, and yes, it takes. I guess it takes to at least have known them to understand that you can't basically kill a brother species. I say that in relation to when you are enclosed in towns forever and ever, and that we know that it's some kids that never have been in countryside and just take the fresh air, enjoy woods or the land. So this is what I think is forever a part of me and characterizes me. And also it gives you environmental reality check about things, because what I've been told by the generation bringing me up is that what they knew 20 years ago, or what their parents knew 50 years ago, was you can't compare these two countrysides. So you've got your grandparents saying to you, but from there to there, and it's like kilometers and kilometers around, there used to be woods, there used to be edges, and everything year after year disappears and been completely destroyed. So even if you are today in countryside and think, oh well, it's charming, there's flowers and so forth, it gives you knowledge that what we are now is only remains of what we used to be there. So yes, I guess in countryside, it's what from generation to generation there was a sense of emergency, where we thought, no, it's impossible. In 20 years, how much went? And now you are in town, and you are noticing the same kind of disappearance, but now it's no more with 100 hectares. It's like 5 trees. And every year there's one tree that is log, and So
the countryside that you grew up in has changed a lot since you was a girl.
Yeah. Since I was a child, and also because of it's one of the main subjects in countryside is people saying to you, but you know what? 5 years ago, here used to be wood, big edges, and 10 years ago, yes. And also Yeah, so you become aware of this earlier because sometimes the brains, it might be simply a coincidence that you see a few parcel of wood disappearing, but it's no coincidence. It's just
Yeah.
everywhere, and it's repeated, and it's every year.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
And have they, where they're taking the trees away, are they replacing them? Are they putting in new woods, new forests?
Uh, from what I perceived is that even the green people, some green, they will tell you, yes, uh, we are doing this. We have a new orchard, for example, and but when you know the place, before having this leaflet saying that your council is green, that they plant trees and so forth,
Yeah.
you've got this in leaflet in your hands, and you walk with your dogs, or you walk on your own, or whatever, or you know your the vicinity, and all that you see is not what they plant, is what they cut. And I think it's I've seen it in so many places that I stop thinking that it's only a rotten apple. Yeah,
So,
stopped.
so you grew up in a rural environment. So what was the school like you went to?
In fact, I grew up in both the rural and the town. I don't know how to describe it. In fact, so it was not huge. Yeah, I guess what I would say is that since we were a bit enclaved.
Yeah.
So it's not like in town where you've got one junior school there and the other junior school there, and there's convergence, and you go out and so forth. Where I was, you couldn't go out because, well, because also one of the thing in countryside is that it's it can be places where it's very squared by roads. So basically there's nowhere to go. That's one of the big sorrow as well, is that kind of because of quote unquote enclosure.
Yeah.
In France, for example, we had I think it was Napoleon laws that say you've got to live in your meadow or a field. You need to leave some spaces for people to go across. Yeah, but these laws are not obeyed. So everything is enclosed, and there is so many places you can't even have a walk. So you are enclosed basically. You are, and so you go to a main village, and everyone is the same junior school.
Yeah.
And yes, so everyone is gonna know everyone because there is no this other junior school at proximity that is gonna be. In my case, it was more with senior school where yes, you go to town, and then it's more effervescence.
So did you have to go by bus? Did they lay on a school bus?
Yeah. But in France, we had it was a bus from the school. It was not. Yes, I mean that's again. It's one of the very negative side of countryside life, is when you don't have a car, you are completely stranded.
Well, you've always got your feet. You can walk.
Oh no.
When I was a young lad, we had to walk 3 miles to the school.
Oh yeah, but
3 miles back.
in that case, you would have to walk something like 10 miles, maybe not 10 kilometers. So 10 kilometers can't do. Plus, it is really the case is that the roads are so dangerous, And also, yes, there's high roads, but yeah, there is not. Yeah, people your age. So you were in countryside too?
Yeah, I was born on a farm. I mean, it wasn't even a hamlet. It was two cottages and a farm where I was born,
Okay.
and it was about 3-4 miles outside of the main town of Hatfield, where de Havilland's was, where they built the Comet. So the farm was just the far end of de Havilland's.
Okay.
So,
They build a comet.
yes, the
Sorry.
Comet, the aeroplane.
Ah, okay.
So it was always an aircraft factory, and
Okay.
and during the Second World War it got bombed quite a bit
Right. Ah, yeah. It became a
by your
target.
occupiers.
What kind of a plane was it?
The Comet was as a passenger plane,
Okay, passenger.
but they also built some fighters and stuff like that during the war. So there was quite a few.
Comet was a brand.
Yes.
Okay.
So
And it
built
was
by-
passenger
yes.
like 100 or
Oh, I
100
don't know.
passenger?
I don't know. It's
No.
It was a long time ago. The Comet
Yeah,
was built there,
long time ago.
and even longer
Okay,
ago
okay.
when they were building I think they was building the Hurricanes there. May have been the Hurricane or the Spitfires during the war.
Spitfire is
Yeah.
yes, is WW2, yeah.
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 So I lived over the back of there.
they build the Spitfire, yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
Oh,
They-
okay.
They certainly were building lots of warplanes at that time during the war.
Yeah. Well, thank God.
Yes.
Yeah.
So moving on then. So you went to secondary school and you had to go by bus.
Yes, or moped, but yes, secondary school we had to go to town.
And what were the main lessons that you were doing at that time? Obviously, you were doing French.
General,
Maths.
I was in general, so that would have been a bit of economy. My favorite was sociology or French, in fact.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the general, I don't think, yes, there is a difference between English and French system.
Yeah.
Is the English enable the students to become very much more specialized. So basically, your O level, you will choose. So I don't know a lot about the British system, but you will choose 4 or 5 A level where you will work.
Yeah.
In France, it's not at all the case. In France, you have to keep all your fields, all your matter, your subjects. You
Yeah.
keep it all. You keep languages, you keep math, you keep sciences, you keep philosophy, and so of course you specialize a little bit. So you will have or a technical high school, but you will have people who specialize more in literature, in sciences, or in a socio-economical sphere. But even if you will specialize there, but you still keep everything. You still have to do your math and your French and your. So we are much more generalist in France, and it has a lot of a good point, but it has its cons as well.
I think you'll get that with all systems, with all education systems across the world.
Yes. Maybe a choice would be maybe to choose, but I guess that I resumed my scholarity as a mature student, but my high school I had to stop because certainly I would have succeeded, I guess, if I had to work on 4 subjects, but yes, I was not focused enough, unfortunately, when I was a teen, and if you drop math and languages at the same time, you are dead in the water, basically. Yeah. So yeah, and
So, yeah, so
even in your
Scott,
university, which is very interesting, is that at universities you can specialize. Same with
yeah,
Anglophone, can specialize very quickly. Also because certainly that you've got so many, so attractive to students all over the place that you may be able to afford more specific themes rather than to keep it very open in order to ensure a number of students there. But yeah.
okay. So when you left school, then did you go to university? Did you go to maybe the Sorbonne?
Oh no, oh la la, Sorbonne. I would have liked to, yeah, no. Um, no, well, this is a bit, I admit, I guess that of course, it's a long story because when things happen to you in your life, it's due to what was of everything that was before, so it's very complicated. But I would guess that so I'm LGBT, and in my countryside, I realized with huge dismay that it would have been very difficult for me to find anyone there. And when I realized that, I went and tried to find a job. So I guess that it really had a major influence, the fact that yeah, that it was for me very complicated to find a girlfriend, without which I was very very unhappy. And at that point, I would have done anything to remediate to the situation, which amusingly completely didn't work. But yes, I went for a not a multitude, but for many type of job for 1 year before. I think I'm gonna say before I went to a care job. So yes, so I've been a carer for many years, and it was my calling basically before.
So did you go to university then?
Yeah, so this is a big story because as a mature student, and certainly because maybe I don't have this focus type of personality. It is even even if my subject, for example, is on the 19th century, I'm the type of starting reading a little bit about the 18th and the 20th, and to have because at that point I find a super book, or because or a very interesting essay, or because I really think that it will feed my understanding of the century that is after, and that I'm supposed to learn. You see, so yeah. So it took me. It's a very very long story. University with me because it's part time. I also stopped French university to strengthen my English, and this is it's a life story. It's what I discovered. It's to learn a language and to start being able to talk more or less normally, it takes years and years and years. And then you are. It's not even the last train you didn't catch up with. It's 10 trains in front of you. So
Well,
but my focus was on.
I must
on
say
human
that
rights.
your English is so much better than my French.
Yeah. Thank you for noticing. Well, I don't know. I haven't. You should show your French a little bit more.
Oh, may we?
Oui.
So my French is what you could call less than schoolboy French. So I learned a few little phrases in French. Is bonjour, mademoiselle. Je m'appelle Tim.
Oh, you learn more, but you forgot.
Yeah. My schooling was a little bit fragmented, should we say?
Yeah. Okay. So you had a fragmented school history.
Oh yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I was put off school at a fairly early age for an incident that wasn't particularly my fault. But I ended up suffering a real injustice that turned me off of school, and it affected my education a lot. And I used to go in the morning, sign in the register, and then scarper, and then clear off for the day.
Okay.
So I missed a lot of schooling, and then.
Is it truant? Sorry, is it
yes,
truant?
Yes, I played truant a lot until I went to take the test to join the army, and the first time I took it, I failed it miserably, and the recruiting sergeant, he said, if you can't do better than this, you've got no chance of joining the army. So I went back that weekend. I looked at myself, took myself off and had a right talking to. Following Monday morning, I went into school and I went to every single lesson, and half the teachers thought I was a new student.
Yeah, it's as simple as that. Is you need a shock in life, and there's so many kids that don't get it. Unfortunately, but when you are youth, you don't think about. Well, it has been my case, huh? So you don't make the correlation of yes, you need to do well there in order to get your dream job, basically. Yes.
Yeah.
And it takes this shock, and it's shock giving by fate, basically, which are never very pleasant. And there must be so many kids in this situation where, for example, you are in front of your TV and no one works. I know
the sort of families. Only too well.
Yeah.
But that's life, unfortunately. Some people take the opportunities that are given to them, and some people don't. Unfortunately, you have to make life what you can when you can.
Yeah, it's true. And then and then you have this opportunity, I don't know, but this luck or whatever of entering the army, and so this because what might happen to you as well, it's to go there and never be able to enter it. And then this, the thing you wanted, and for some reason is not gonna happen, and this might really wreck life, because you don't know what to do with yourself, basically, after that kind of.
I mean, it could have been quite easy. I could have ended up in prison and had a life of crime, but I mean, fortunately, I went back a second time and passed the tests, got a place in the army, and never really looked back. It was the making of me. So, you went into university as a mature student. How did you find that with lots of sort of youths, I guess they're 18 to 20-year-olds?
Yeah, well, yeah, in fact, I was, I don't know, first I was like, don't quite know, maybe 5 years older than them, but it didn't shock me very much at the time. It's after I resumed university again, and then I realized that I was older, and I don't know. It's a bit bittersweet, in fact, because you realize that you've got the same knowledge than people that but we'll have 5 years of studying more appropriately. So I don't know. I love university a lot because they are center of knowledge. Even in France, we had the opportunity of practicing. I was online mostly, but we have the opportunity of, the 1 year I was not, of with sport activity, and the guys that were doing the sport were at PhD in karate or dance or Pilates and so forth. So it's rather extraordinary university for that. Though I felt at times that competition was a bit silly. What I in fact is paradoxical because people tend to say that university doesn't prepare you for life at work. And what I found is that some students that are between 18, 19, 20 are as unhealthily voracious as I don't know, as any guy you would represent yourself work in the financial system. The unfair play. There's a lot of discrimination that is not based on of knowledge. There's also discrimination based on knowledge, but in the different ways. Is that if you are not, if you are tackling or dealing with learning and writing differently than the very, I would say, restrained way of dealing of the academic or also if you don't follow at times your teachers, even political view on your essay and so forth.
Yeah.
I felt that it's impacting negatively on. So university for me was what used to be a big symbol of deliverance almost, because it gave me this opportunity of learning things that I wanted to learn. I did so in working part-time, in learning, in doing it in another language and so forth. So it's the amount of effort is really big, and to find yourself sometimes, not every time, of course, I'm far from it, because but sometimes a bit at a loss because of differing point of view. Or the last thing I've done for university, my tutor wanted to give me the subject. I didn't want the subject. Really, I didn't want the subject. She tried to inflict on myself. I went to university with with the aim of a special phases. And yes, I worked a lot, and it was my second MA, so I had some kind of, you know, like background to know that I think I did better than what she assessed me to have done. So yeah, whatever. Yeah.
So that brings us up to date then.
Yeah.
So are you working now? Are you still in the care industry?
No, I left care. I'm kind of doing many different things at the moment, but I almost left care, let's say, and yeah. And but I know that I will start something very negative. But there is we know a lot that there is a problem with recruitment in the care industry, and maybe because of salary level, but I think that many is not directly for many people, or at least the one who love their job, it's not really salary related. It's responsibility that are left to the staff is very low level. Even if you want to make a difference, like one says, and it is true that if you are in care, mostly it's maybe because of your skill, you like doing the basic of what is in care, but what the beyond, the purpose beyond all of this it's to make a difference. Very clear. It could be that in every industry, but in care, I think it's it's much more logical. It's much more direct and proxy. The proxy is and it's too difficult. It's too difficult because of the way things are structured. Because it's not really encouraged. Yes. For so many reasons, there has been. It's very difficult to work in care and be satisfied with your job as a whole, but certainly more so with the impact you can have in someone's life. Because if you feel every day that you fail them, and that there is too little ways that you can redress or address this question. In fact, at university, it kind of relieved me to go to university, because my phases and also a lot of modules I took was around children abuse on children, and it's when I realized that what I lived in practice just was in statistics, that the care industry is really, really well known to be to have huge issues with neglect, and my thesis was in particular with children sexual exploitation, and the amount of children that are abused and that are from care is stupendous. It's like it's like the care industry or the social care industry, which is an industry with all the monstrous aspect of what unregulated industry that do absolutely what they want, regardless of quality and of
well, if it's any
dignity.
consolation, we have the same issues in the UK with those abuses of children in care.
I think the UK is particularly concerned. Unfortunately, I wouldn't say that France is any. But I wouldn't know no longer. Is not concerned by it, but yeah, is for example a simple figure such as children poverty. Or violence among children, like the children that are so helpless because they don't have anything to do after school that they stab each other.
Yeah.
I mean, it was there in North London 10 years ago, 15 years ago. Well, it was literally that. Also a care industry in London in England that would the units are small. In France, units are bigger. So you can there's like a camp activity. It's like it's very criticized because of being military, but. If you are lucky, I'm not saying every time, far from it, but if you are lucky, you will have a monitor that likes beads, and another one that likes walks, and another one that likes drawing, and then you can converge. It's not like small unit when it's the one-to-one. The amount of money spent is incredible. Yeah. And the staff are there sitting and can do nothing because you can't prevent children absconding, going directly towards drugs problem, quote-unquote prostitution, sex exploitation, gangs, because the UK currently have got a lot of problem with gangs. And who do you use as mules? Yeah. Well, the teenagers, if they are as old as this, and if they are not younger than being for the teenagers, a lot.
I think it's possibly one of those worldwide problems that just is human nature that we have those issues.
Yes, but there is way of addressing them.
Yeah, and I think
if you start with child poverty, which in the UK I think is 1/4 of 1 children in 4 live under the.
I don't know. I mean, they can fiddle the figures whichever way they want, but yeah.
But I'm talking about figure from. I've never. I'm very bad with titles.
The ONS.
Children. Yes. But what do you say?
The ONS.
Yeah.
Office of National Statistics.
No. The children society is a big.
Oh right, yeah. The NSPCC, somebody like that. Child charities.
Exactly. Yeah, national. Yeah. So very official figures. Is the UK official? Yeah. We need them. We need figures that can be relied on. And it's in France things are. For example, in France, when your kid is at school, you can pay for a little, because it's sponsored by the state, basically. Yeah. For a little amount of money, your kids is gonna go on Wednesday all day, Of course, I'm not saying that the activities are stupendous every time, far from it, because it's a very, very difficult job to look after children when you don't have a lot of means. Basically, if you can do it, you are a wonder, basically. And some are because you've got staff that are very gifted at drawing or at craft, so yeah, you still can have it, but at least your kid is not outside in the street, not knowing what to do, because we all know it's almost the subject of we recognize each other that if you don't know what to do, you won't do well. Yeah, it's what happened, because if in a country you will need 5 quid every time you want to send your children 1 hour to some activities,
after school clubs and stuff like that. So
even middle class will have a problem at one point. So
anyway, I think that would be another subject that we can cover. So for the time being, I'd just like to thank you very much. It's been really interesting.